The NFL season is right around the corner, and FanDuel has released their 2022 NFL DFS Week 1 salaries. We'll take a close look at quarterbacks, telling you who to target and who to avoid, coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm WIley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric will be giving our initial take on Week 1 main slate for FanDuel this week. And in this video, we're covering quarterbacks. You can also look in the description and find Week 1 DraftKings and FanDuel shows where we discuss main slate players in other positions.
Now, news is going to come out after we post this video that will alter some of our opinions, which is why we'll be releasing a full FanDuel Week 1 cash lineup and a full GPP lineup closer to the season. So if you haven't yet, please hit that red subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of our future content.
And we love hearing from all of you. So if you would, please put in the comment section your favorite FanDuel quarterback this week and the reasons why. Now, Eric, let's go into the studio and tell them our thoughts.
Michael, I'm so excited to be looking at FanDuel Week 1 salaries. And when you look at quarterbacks, you kind of go into three tiers. You got the real expensive ones, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. So if you were to pay up, Michael, where would you go out of those three guys?
Well, I mean, I think given what happens week in and week out at the beginning of the season with Andy Reid's offense, you're pretty likely to have a nice start from Patrick Mahomes, even with some of the loss around him. And I like the matchup as well. So I think I would go there because he's only $200 more than Lamar Jackson and $300 more than Justin Herbert. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, well, let's just talk about Pat Mahomes. I actually slightly disagree, so I'll give you my pick. It's not Pat Mahomes, but I'll give you my take on Pat Mahomes. You're absolutely right. It's an unbelievable shootout game. Not only the highest over-under on the main slate of 53, but it's a relatively short spread, just a 3-point favorite. So it should be back and forth scoring between Kansas City and Arizona. At least that's what the lines makers think. But I guess I want to kind of see how Pat Mahomes does without Tyreek Hill. Is that not a big concern of yours, dropping down from Hill to Smith-Schuster?
The absence of Tyreek Hill will have an impact, no question. Juju Smith-Schuster is not a replacement. He's a possession receiver. He doesn't have anywhere near the speed. It means that Kelsey can be double covered. But guess what? Andrew Reid will find a way to make up for that. Look at how Patrick Mahomes has done at the beginning of the season, pretty much every year of his career. And some of these other guys, they can start slow. And so that's the reason I think he's the safest bet. Now, you asked me a question. If I went and paid higher dollars, where would I go? That's where I would go, but I'm not sure I would pay the higher dollars. Eric, who do you like this week?
Well, like you, I'm not sure I would pay the higher dollars, but if I was, it would be with Lamar Jackson. I get to save $200 off you. I know you gave a scare tactic there saying, the other two guys, maybe they'll start slow. Well, I have an insurance policy. It's called the New York Jets. I find it hard to believe that the New York Jets are going to shut down Baltimore. And if Baltimore scores, you just know Lamar Jackson is going to be a part of that, especially since one or maybe both of their starting backs in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards is going to be out. And look, if you look over the last the 2 years prior to last year, in other words, 2019 and 2020, Lamar Jackson ran for 1,000 yards. And he was on pace to run for 1,000 yards last year after 8 games, and then injuries sunk in. He is healthy coming into this season. I expect him to run again, and he provides that floor, Michael, to prevent a really bad game.
Yeah, I like this option as well.
Let's talk about the forgotten guy of the top three. Poor Justin Herbert. No love for Justin Herbert. And Michael, I mean, how talented is this guy?
He really is very talented. And you got to like that this game is perhaps even more likely to be a shootout with the Raiders' offense improvements. The only caveat I give to that is the way that the Chargers coach up the team, they tend to try and slow the game down. But yes, what a talent, surrounded by a lot of talent. Justin Herbert's going to have a great season. We're just missing, Josh Allen because he's playing on Thursday night.
Yeah.
He'd be up here as well.
So I think Justin Herbert can look at his other two guys and say, hey, I still have my number one wide receiver. I didn't lose Hill. I didn't lose Hollywood Brown. And he's got the same offensive weapons. And there are a lot between Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler catching passes out of the backfield. So, I'm not going to be upset if you go with him. But, Michael, what I have learned in trying to build the lineups on FanDuel in week 1 is to get the running backs that I want. And I do want a lot of good running backs. You got to pay down a little bit at quarterback. So let's take a look at some of the other guys, and starting with Kyler Murray. So look, of the first 4 guys, 3 of them are in this shootout games, either Kansas City or Arizona or Las Vegas and the Chargers. And that's Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's playing Kansas City. You got to watch the injury report to see how many weapons will actually be healthy. I'll tell you one thing. Hopkins will definitely be out. He's been suspended. Christian Kirk and Edmonds have been traded. Are you as worried as I am about some of the weapons Murray will have?
Yeah, not just that, but Kyler Murray came out with a bang last season, and I think that's tempting to think he's going to repeat with how the Cardinals were. You'd like to see them return to where they were. But not only has he lost those weapons, but what happened when the Cardinals went downhill? It was because Kyler Murray got injured. And so they're going to want to protect him. And so even though he has similar potential to Lamar Jackson with his legs, I think he's going to be kept more in tow, so they don't see that kind of injury this year. So I'm a little nervous about this game. Definitely too early to choose Kyler Murray, in my opinion.
All right. Let's go to the next guy on the list, Jalen Hurts. He is in a relatively good game environment against a Detroit Lion team that gives up points but can score points. So this may be a low-key shootout game, 25 implied total, 4-point favorite. And obviously, Michael, he's got a big new weapon to play with, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so I think the challenge here is he's just too expensive, right? I mean, last season we get excited about him because of the price tag that he had, but he's just too expensive.
Yeah, it's funny. He used to be kind of the league's best secret over the last couple of years, but the secret's out. I mean, it's amazing that he's priced more than Aaron Rodgers. I think it might be a little overkill of the new weapon that he has in AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, yeah. Sorry, I didn't take the bait there with your question, but thanks.
That's all right. I was trying to throw you a nice pass. I think you dropped it, but hey, I'm sure I'll edit this out. Yeah, right, folks. Anyway, bottom line is the thing that scares me the most, besides the price with Jalen Hurts, is that this offense is so conservative. They pass less than any other team in the league, other than one last year, 29 pass attempts. And I just don't know if that'll change with AJ Brown. So I have a wait and see on Jalen Hurts. All right, let's go to Aaron Rodgers. FanDuel has priced him down actually relative to DraftKings. He's at only 7,800. I think they are concerned about the fact that he doesn't have his number one weapon of the last, 4 or 5 years, Davante Adams. How much do you think the loss of Adams hurts Aaron Rodgers?
I think it's a bigger loss for Rodgers than Tyreek is for Mahomes. And that's obviously mostly because of the other weapons that he had. But that has been Aaron Rodgers' go-to. And even though he does like to dump the ball off to his backs in the backfield, even more so than Mahomes does, I just think that Davante Adams not being there just changes the game significantly for them. Will he put up yards this season? Will he still have a good season? Yeah, but he's going to be significantly down all year long because of the loss of Davante. Yeah,
I really worry around the goal line because he looked almost exclusively to him on some plays around the goal line, and it worked. I mean, they were just a major connection inside the 10. All right, continuing the trend of quality quarterbacks, let's look at Joe Burrow. I mean, all he did was take his team to the Super Bowl last year. And this guy is a true talent, and I have the stats to back it up. Quite simply, I'll give you two. One, completion percentage. He led all quarterbacks in completion percentage. But two, you might say, Eric, he was just completing short passes. No, he led all quarterbacks in yards per completion.
The other thing to notice is the changes that they've had on the offensive line. Obviously, he was beat up a little bit. They went out and spent some money there, surrounding him with 3 additional very capable offensive linemen, which will bode well both for the run and which will set him up more for some play action. So
one thing about FanDuel, they really have condensed these salaries. In DraftKings, you can get a pretty good bargain at quarterback. Not so. So let's scroll down a little bit and see who are at the bottom of this middle tier. We have Trey Lance and Derek Carr. So between the two, Michael, I think we both like these two guys. Who do you like more and why?
Well, I think Trey Lance actually has a little bit of a higher floor because of his ability with his legs. And he does have weapons as well. But he's, basically a rookie, right? He didn't get many snaps last year till late in the season. And Derek Carr has picked up Devontae Adams, and the Raiders threw the ball all season long last year. And I think with the addition of Devontae, not only is that a fantastic weapon, but that opens things up with his tight end. And so I think Derek Carr has a higher ceiling. So I think they both have a decent floor. I'm tempted to go with Derek Carr, but he's my guy.
Yes. A little biased there.
Maybe I'm a little bit biased.
It's funny.
How about you?
It's funny is I can't believe it. We agree, although I would have said it a little differently, but we get to the same spot and arguably the same reason. I would go to Derek Carr in GPP and Trey Lance in cash games. Now, part of the reason is because I think Derek Carr gives you a higher ceiling, which is what you said. But I also think he gives you better stackable options. I think that is a very natural option to either stack him with both of his top wide receivers in Renfrow or Adams, or one of those guys and Darren Waller. Where Trey Lance, I think he's going to get a lot of his actual potential is with his legs. So if I were to play him in GPP, I might not even stack him, which generally I don't like to do. I just play him on a solo basis.
So Eric, is there really anyone else down this list, even from week to week, who's kind of calling your name? Obviously, we didn't have a chance to talk about Stafford or Josh Allen or Brady, because they're not playing on the main slate, and all those guys I think will come up in later weeks. But
yeah, but wait a minute. Hold on a minute, Michael. You didn't mention Drew Lock or Geno Smith as top guys that are not on the slate. As a Seahawk fan, I need to mention that. And it was hard for me actually to say that. Oh, it's going to be a tough year, Michael. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the Seahawks. They're not on the main slate. I can't believe Daniel Jones is $7,100, Michael. He's a bargain on DraftKings, but FanDuel, they upped his price up. And I do not trust Tua. I know he has a lot of weapons now to throw to. I do not trust him, and I worry about the game script of New England that will run the ball a lot. I'm not sold on Trevor Lawrence, even though he's in a good matchup. So I want you to continue to scroll down to get to guys that I think that they're in good matchups, good implied total. Don't go too low. 6,700 is Jameis Winston. Don't think about the days where he used to sling the ball all over the place. That he's in a more conservative situation. But I love the matchup against Atlanta, one of the worst defenses in all of football. And he should get a healthy Michael Thomas back. And Alvin Kamara should be playing. I know that he has some legal issues, but that's been delayed. He should be playing in week 1, and in NFL DFS, that's all you care about week to week.
Yeah, no, I think that you hit on a couple of key things there. I agree. I just think that he's just not cheap enough really to be enticing. But yeah, some of the other guys kind of right above are not even really worth talking about. Some people may want to go with Justin Fields as comparable to Trey Lance. I'm a little nervous about Matt Ryan being in a new environment.
All right, I just want to remind everybody that this is just the first of our FanDuel shows where we take a deep dive by position of the week 1 salaries. We also do the same thing on DraftKings. We'll put up on your screen a couple of those shows. If you haven't seen it yet, please check them out. And until next time, take care, everybody.
Be safe.